Yes.
Awesome. There we go. So, welcome. How's it
Thank
going?
you. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's night here. I know you just started your day.
Just
So,
started. How crazy is it? Like, I love it.
the wonders of technology today that we can, have this
It's so
conversation.
crazy. It blows my mind every time we do it. Like, every time I do it, like, just insane. I love it so much.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to my sister who is 11. I was like, "Yeah, I'm talking to someone who's in Australia." She's like, "How? How do you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can do that now." So
It's a
awesome.
bit
So
scary to think, like, what's coming, though. Because can you
yeah,
imagine people like 50 years ago, and if we told them this would be like reality, they would
yeah.
just be like, no way.
Yeah, and I don't even know anyone in Australia. All I know is from the magazines or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
so crazy.
yeah, so it's great to have you on. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you and everything. I just want to start off with a little bit today, just, tell everyone, the listeners, just a little bit about, your overall just like fitness background and your fitness journey, so we know who we're talking to here.
So, I guess fitness wasn't my original passion. Like, I've always been into science. I loved science in high school and was really interested in nutrition and health overall. So, I studied science at university, like biomedical sciences, and then didn't know what I wanted to do still. So, I did masters in public health. So, I spent 7 years at university. And then got out and still didn't know what to do really. So I couldn't get a job in public health. Like I always wanted to help people and,
Hmm.
try and improve the health of the world. So I thought like I'd try and work for a health organization. I wanted to work for the World Health Organization, actually. I'm
Yeah.
so glad I don't now. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, then I moved interstate and decided to do a PT course for fun. At that stage, I still wasn't even interested in fitness for myself. I hated exercise,
Oh,
but I just thought like I want to, learn what to do properly in the gym for myself. And then I decided somehow that I could help people from the ground up, like with their fitness and nutrition and stuff and their health overall. And then I got fit and we're here now, I guess.
awesome. That's awesome. So I know we talked a little bit, over Instagram and everything like that. And I want to just start off with, our first kind of topic here about like building a healthy relationship with food, because I know you preach that a lot, with your Instagram content and YouTube and everything like that. I know I've seen a lot of your videos and I know you really preach that stuff. So kind of like where I want to jumping off point here is, what are, some maybe diet traps that you see your clients or, just people online, like traps do you see people falling into that kind of builds this unhealthy relationship with food?
I think at the moment, still this whole fear around carbs. And I know for myself, like I had a massive fear around eating carbs. And as soon as I started eating more to fuel my training, that is when my whole body like changed for the
Yeah.
better. And I just wish people would understand that carbs are not bad. Sugar itself is not bad unless you have diabetes or some kind of medical issue where you can't process sugar. But if you are exercising, especially weight training and doing intense workouts,
Yeah.
sugar isn't bad for you. Like you can handle that. And I just wish people would it's so upsetting to think people are going out being scared to eat food and they can't just enjoy it for what it is
Yeah.
and live their life. And I've been like, I had an eating disorder, so I know what
Mm,
it feels like to look at other people just enjoying food and eating it freely and like
yeah.
being scared and like having that guilt around eating things. And it's just like, it's not a way to live life. So yeah, I'm really passionate about showing people that you can eat cake and lollies and stuff
Yeah.
and still get to your goal. And yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah. I think that's great because I definitely been following you, the last, couple months I've been seeing you've really tried to increase your calories, which I think is like kind of like the kind of the opposite of what, you see in social media today. Everyone's like, you got to lower your calories, lower your calories, lower your calories.
Yeah.
And I've been loving that, from you, that like you can have this great shape and do this
But that's why
while
I'm
not being on
sharing
10.
like my calorie target, because I want people to see that eating more doesn't necessarily mean fat gain. And it's a big thing for me as well. Like I still got to push past those
Yeah.
little fears that I still have like left over
Yeah.
from my eating disorder days and stuff. But it's like I love that I can show that to people, that, and even some of my clients that come to me, like so many girls like stuck on 1200 calories, 1300 calories, and they don't understand that that is stressing their bodies, and they're not able to put any energy into their training, and then they're not getting results. They're just getting like water retention and bloating and all that crap from being stressed.
Yeah.
And as soon as they increase their calories, they start to get these like amazing transformations, because they can actually fuel their training. Like you have to integrate everything. And so many people are just looking at fat loss. Okay, I've got to drop calories, when it's not that, like, it's that simple for some people, but for a large percentage of the population, it is not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's 100% true. I think it's very interesting that you brought that up, because I thought that, I went through kind of like the same thing where I struggled, I had that calorie deficit, but food became more of, a hassle. It kind of, you just see people, eating all this food that you in your mind can't eat. Like, how can I eat pizza or cheeseburgers or ice cream while trying to lose weight? Like, it in my mind, it didn't work. I was like, you have to be healthy. That's not
yeah,
healthy.
yeah, it's so hard to stop labeling food. And I
Hmm.
think like that is what I just wish people would stop doing it. Like even I have to pull myself up if I say, oh, I'm trying to eat, like still eat good. I said that
Yeah,
yesterday, like, because I'm
I
trying to
saw
hit
that.
this
Yeah,
really high calorie target, and I'm like, I'm still trying to eat good. But then I had to like, no, there's no good or bad. It's like I'm still trying to eat whole foods, foods that are full of nutrients, so I get those nutrients for my body. And I think because my head is like, it sees all the little biochemical pathways and where
yeah.
those nutrients are needed and
Go for
stuff,
it.
whereas people don't see that. So I just wish, like, I wish more of this was taught in school so people could
Hmm.
understand their body better, and like how food is used in our bodies and why we need it and why we need nutrients. And then maybe
Yeah,
people would naturally want to take in more nutrients because they know like what it's going to be used for, and it will help fuel and
yeah,
make you feel better.
yeah. And how each of those like macronutrients are important to your body. Like
Yeah.
you brought up carbs, but also the same thing with fats. I remember being brought up that fats were bad and everything had to be fat free and this and that. And I had that thinking, and that was the hardest thing. I cut out carbs, but I'm like, okay, but I don't eat any fat really. Like, how do you can't, it's like you got to
How
balance.
are you surviving?
Exactly. It's like, oh, how, like now I have to eat all this oil and stuff that I'm not used to eating, or, however you get it in, which is just, it's difficult. And you need, once you realize that you need all that, from protein, carbs, and fat, that your body needs this nutrients. There's a
Yeah.
reason
And
it's in the
just,
food.
it's like the media has taught us that fat is bad or carbs are bad. Like, so why can't they start teaching us the right things? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting with that good to bad food is that, uh, you know, something I've been seeing a lot is that people keep, being like, oh, is this good food? Is this bad food? And it's being marketed as, good food. But then I'm like, I have to like explain to people like, yes, it's healthy, but it still has calories. It's still, it might be good for you, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, that's good food is 1,000 calories for you in this one meal. Does that fit your goals still? Just because something's labeled as healthy, like I think nuts is something like everyone now thinks nuts are healthy.
Oh my
They are,
goodness.
they are,
I've
but
been
they're,
trying to eat more of them to hit my
yeah,
calories.
yeah. But that's the thing. It's like if you measure out one serving of nuts, okay, 200, 300 calories, great. But that's like 10 nuts maybe,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
it's like crazy. And also, I love thinking about the mental side of things because I think
Mhm.
it's all integrated. And if you are not like mentally healthy, then you're not going to be able to achieve optimal physical health or like physical health to your full potential. So if you are labeling food as good or bad and then you can't enjoy a bad food because it's bad, like that is going to impact your mental health and like your life overall, and then your physical health because it's all like intertwined. So
100%. Last week, I just recorded a podcast by myself all about like creating happiness. And that was the exact point. It was like, no matter if you hit your goal or not, if you're not mentally, happy and enjoying yourself and doing that for yourself, you're never going to be happy,
Yeah, exactly right. Because getting that body, like everyone thinks, once I get this body, I'll be happy. But it's not the case at all. Like I had my like biggest transformation when I turned 30 pretty much, or just after. And like once you get that body, it's still not like your life suddenly changes and everything becomes perfect. Like you still have to work on your head and work on everything else to achieve that like pure happiness from within.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a one size fit all type of thing.
No.
So continue on with this. What would you say are maybe some like strategies that people can do to like avoid these pitfalls? I know we talked a lot about, some things that people can fall into, but what are maybe some strategies and ways that people should start thinking and, kind of treating food
I
to
think
help
awareness, like tracking gives awareness of like what is in your food and what might be a better choice in some situations. And if you are going to try and fit a treat food in or something with higher calories, then the sacrifice that you'll have to make in other parts of the day to fit that in, and just like having that awareness and then learning to pull yourself up when you start thinking, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't have it. Like start just reframing that to, okay, this food isn't bad. It's like high in calories, it's high in fat. Like I can fit it in, but it's going to mean I have to eat this here, and just start, training your brain to see food for what it is.
Yeah, I think that awareness factor is huge. It's probably like the first thing that I have people do, is because most of us don't know how much we're actually eating.
Exactly right.
Some of us might be thinking we're eating a 1,200 calorie diet, but really we're eating 2,000 calories, and like, okay, well, maybe that's the reason why you're not, losing weight, or like maybe that's not the reason you're, trying to gain muscle, that you're not eating enough, or, we don't have that awareness,
I have no idea. And like everyone wants to be able to eat intuitively and stuff, but we don't know what that looks like because we're so biased already from what we've heard in the media based on like what we need and stuff. And everyone thinks they need a 1,200 calorie diet. Like, where are you getting that from? And like, how do you know that, that is not trying to intuitively just not eat. Like, that's not right. So yeah, I think the awareness is so important with everything, not just like tracking food, just like being able to be aware of your thoughts and how they're impacting your life and all of that.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people think that it becomes so naturally, like you should just know how much food to be eating, but you grow up, you grow up a certain way. It's like whatever your parents are teaching you, whatever, your family's teaching you at that certain point. And if it's not the way that's leading you towards a healthy body, like it's not intuitive to you. It wasn't what was taught. Your intuitiveness comes from what you were taught and what you learned over years and years and years. Obviously,
Exactly.
if you're 50 to 100 pounds overweight, obviously the way you were taught to eat probably wasn't correct.
Yeah.
So if you just try to eat healthier, it's probably, it could succeed, but it's probably going to be a lot harder for you to do that.
It's a guessing game. Like if people just would put that bit of effort from the start into being more aware, tracking their food, like there's no guessing game.
Yeah. That's what when you take that guesswork out of it, that's usually where people succeed. That's why that's why people hire coaches like me and you. It's like you take the guesswork out because it's so confusing. It really is.
It is. And like, especially so many people are confused by the goal they have because like everyone wants to lose fat, but some people don't need a calorie deficit to lose fat. And that comes back to the whole like skinny fat scenario. And most of my clients, like a lot of them anyway, are skinny fat. And it's just like as soon as you eat more, everything changes and you lose fat. Like you can lose fat eating more if your training is set up right and your diet as well. But like, it's just people need to know what their goal is and what they actually need to do.
Yeah.
And then everything's easy kind of thing. The struggle is like working out that initial plan, and that's where we're helpful, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's that first like kind of, I find for most of my clients is first couple months, that first like 6 months is like, that's where you really, most people struggle with. And then after that, it's just building on those things you learn in the first 6 months to the year. And then you're almost on cruise control for, almost the rest of your life.
Exactly
You might change a thing here and there to spice things up, change your, everyone has different training goals at a certain point, maybe deadlift or, running a marathon, whatever it may be. So at that point, you're just kind of on cruise control. Eventually your eating becomes standard.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you change your goal, then it's like you have to, like part of the reason I track still is because I've got different goals. And then like I would not eat the amount of food I'm eating now if I wasn't tracking. So it like forces me to get the food in that I actually need to hit my training goals.
Yeah, exactly. So bringing back the point you just made before, talking about like skinny fat, like can you describe to people, because some people might not have no idea what you're talking about there. Well, how would you describe like skinny fat, or what if a person was skinny fat?
So skinny fat typically is someone who has too much body fat because they don't have enough muscle. So the ratio of muscle mass to body fat is skewed, and typically they look fine in clothes, but once you take the clothes off, they have like a lot of especially belly fat and back fat, and they just like really insecure and not happy with their body. They don't have any shape, basically. But like slim limbs, but a lot of body fat around the middle of their body. So everyone thinks they're healthy and they're fine, but because they have that excess body fat still, they're actually not any more healthy than someone that's overweight.
Yeah, it could be, having that high percentage body fat is not good, especially around those organs, because as you know, you into science and everything like that, like that's the killer right there.
Yeah.
It's not that arm fat on your arm, it's that belly fat around there that starts to go onto your, your liver and your heart and your lung, that just builds up. That's not great. So how would you, what kind of advice would you give to overcome that, nutrition wise and like fitness wise?
So I think the biggest thing like I try and promote is you have to stop focusing on fat loss and start focusing on getting strong. As soon as you do that and you actually start getting stronger because you're eating right and you're training right, that's when the body fat just like starts not falling off, but like getting reduced. And it's a very slow process. I think like all my clients that come to me, I'm just like, this is not going to happen overnight. And they are prepared for that. So, but it's a worthwhile process. Like it's really, when you start learning what your body can actually do and is capable of, and especially hitting those strength goals and stuff, like it's just, training becomes more enjoyable in my opinion. But like also my clients, like they start to fall in love with the process because they realize what they're capable of, and they're like deadlifting over their body weight, and they're just like, this is cool, and that's when everything changes. Nothing
is cooler than deadlifting your body weight, over your body weight. If you've never done it, everyone needs to do it, because it's just nothing's more empowering. I tell everyone, like, that's the most empowering thing you can do, is lift more than your body weight off the ground. If you have that, like, once you learn that, that's when I think like most people will fall in love with training. When you can lift that much, you're just like, what can stop me?
Cool. Yeah, exactly. It's so true, especially like for females, like, because they're used to, I guess, like they're the ones usually going into the gym and not lifting weights, doing cardio, or doing like little band workouts and
Yeah.
mini dumbbell workouts and
Yeah.
not really trying to even achieve something like that. So as soon as they can, I just think training gets so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to challenge your body. And that, I think that brings up that point that like people discount. Like I think we do always talk a lot about like nutrition. Nutrition is the key for fat loss, but training is still a very important aspect of it. And what you're doing for training is important, especially in the situation that you're talking about. Like this isn't it's not a one size fit all
Yeah. So
program.
like if a skinny fat person just dieted and like was in a calorie deficit, they would lose fat, but they would just become a smaller version of their skinny fat. Like they wouldn't get a better looking body. It's that training that is key.
Yeah, you got to replace that fat with, a little bit of muscle and everything like that to build up that shape. I think that's kind of the biggest thing I always sell people on is like, you don't want to, if you lose all the fat, you're just gonna be skin and bones. That's why you need to do the training to build up that muscle, to build the shape. I think
And that supports you so well in the rest of your life. And that's something like I'm really passionate about as well. Like improving the quality of life as you age, because you don't have to get weaker and smaller and frail as you age. You can get stronger and you can keep getting better and you can keep getting a better looking body. Like I remember looking in the mirror when I was like 21 years old and thinking, this is the best body I'm going to ever have, because now I'm getting old and like it's all downhill from here. And then like now I'm 33 and like I've got the best body I've ever had in my life, and I'm like proud of it, and I've weighed the most I've ever weighed in my life as well. It's crazy how it works. And you can keep like so many people into their 40s and 50s, they're getting better looking bodies. Like it's not, I get like messages all the time like, oh, I'm 30, I'm too old and I've left it too late and my life's over pretty much. And I'm like, are you kidding?
No, I agree.
It's never
with you.
too late.
I agree with you 100%. Actually, tomorrow, or technically for you, is my birthday. So I 100% agree with you that.
So it's your birthday today.
Yeah, technically.
In Australia.
In Australia.
Happy birthday.
And I honestly do. I agree with you. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. And I agree with you. I thought as I was younger that I would just go downhill. But I feel like I feel like I'm only going to get stronger and better as I get older. Like,
100%.
and I agree with you. I think a lot of people think that you hit this clock, like especially, around our age, that's like your life is over, when it's like, it's something Gary Vee says. He's like, you're 30 years old. You have over double your life. You've lived more. You're going to live another lifetime of what you've lived so far. Like you have so much more time left in your life. Like, what are you like? Why you didn't waste anything? Like you have a whole nother life. Like, what do you
live it? Exactly. Yeah. And like, if you're focused on your health and improving your health and improving your strength and muscle mass, then you're going to be able to live it well.
Oh yeah.
I think is really important.
Oh, 100%. Muscle is probably, there are plenty of studies out there that support that the more muscle you have, as you age, the more likely you are to live longer and healthier.
Yeah.
Because that's the goal, right?
Well, falls are like the top, one of the main causes of death as you get older. And if you're stronger, you're less likely to fall. So people don't think about that, and like being able to sit onto a toilet by themselves and get up by themselves as they get older and little things like that. That's why you need to start working towards it now.
Yeah, we take that all for granted for such a long period of our life that it's like, oh, we can do that. That's no problem. And then once you're not able to, you're like, oh, crap. Like,
and even like lower back pain, everyone has lower back pain. But as soon as you start strengthening your back and actually learning how to sit up using your muscles, it's just like that goes away, like, so you can improve so much of your life if you get into weight training.
Yeah, 100%. I preach that to everyone. It's like, you don't have to do a lot of it. Just do, a couple days a week of it will make it so much better. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger out there. You can just be you. Do it 2 to 3 times a week. You're going to see amazing results. It's going to make you so much better.
Feel better. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that will impact every other aspect of your life for the better.
Yeah. So bringing kind of back a little bit. So how would you would there be any like nutrition advice you would give like someone for like skinny fat? I know you said like not really in a calorie deficit. So are you more like thinking maintenance, for that type of population or?
Yeah, so I set everyone up on maintenance to start with and make sure they can like hit that target. And then some clients, most of them, I'll like calorie cycle, like have lower days on rest days and higher days on training days. But yeah, just like to start off, eat around maintenance. That's
Yeah.
all. Like, and stop thinking fat loss is your goal when like the main goal should be to get strong, build muscle, and then fat loss is secondary, and it will happen like if you are
Yeah.
focusing on that strength gain.
Yeah. So it's more of a mindset shift when it comes to nutrition, shifting away from that fat loss and into more of that like muscle gain type of muscle
Yeah,
definition.
exactly. Yeah. And
Oh,
pushing yourself in your training. Like, I think a lot of girls, especially, are scared to actually push themselves because
hmm.
they've got this fear of getting bulky and, like, oh, I shouldn't be lifting that heavy,
Yeah.
surely. And, it's just like you learn that, though. It's all part of that process. And that's why
Yeah.
it's so, I think, valuable to have a coach to, like, walk you through that process. Because at the
Yeah.
start, like, especially if you're a beginner at the gym, like so many of the adaptations are like neural, like it's just
Yeah.
like learning how to fire those muscles and use them properly and perform that movement pattern properly, and that is progress, achieving that and learning
Yeah.
that. And if you like build that solid foundation, you're set for the rest of the journey kind of thing. But if you
Yeah.
don't achieve that, then you're always going to struggle and you're not going to get those good results that you're capable of. So yeah, I think it's a slow process, but it's so worthwhile. And if you can learn to see that progress that you're making, even though it's not what you really want straight away,
Hmm.
like it's just so important.
Yeah. And a lot of those, kind of changes that you make at those beginning, I think a lot of people kind of discount or push to the side because they don't even know it's happening. So I agree
Yeah,
with you. Having that
exactly.
coach really does help. Like, hey, this is what you're doing. Even with your, filming your lifts. Especially at the beginning, I think that's huge. Filming all your
Yeah.
lifts so you can see the progress you're making and like, oh, my back is a little bit straighter here, or I'm able to get that depth in the deadlift and my
And
squat.
it's so fun to have those videos to look back on and be like, that's where I started. Even I've got some squat videos of me like a few years ago, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, what was I
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, exactly. And being able to, again, this comes back to that awareness, like having that awareness that like you're making progress. I think it's hard, especially for people like all of us to like remember like 6 months ago or like a month ago and like be able to picture that in our heads. And it's like, oh, this is where I was. Oh man. Cause you kind of forget because we see ourselves every day.
Yeah.
We see ourselves in the mirror. We see ourselves. It's hard to picture that progress that we're making like to ourselves. Other people are most likely going to see it before us.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to
Exactly.
make it sure it's important to us that we're like, okay, are we showing it? How are we, making progress in the gym and, with our
Even
nutrition and
just
everything
how
like
you
that.
show up in life, and like
Yeah.
when you start feeling better, it just like you show up as a different person, and
Oh
like that
yeah.
is so like that's a massive progress, like that's even better in my opinion than getting that body transformation. Just
Oh
like
yeah.
feeling so good that you're able to wake up and have that energy to go about your day. And when you feel good about yourself, just the way you interact with everyone changes, and
Hmm.
that changes, like brings in more opportunity, and everything is just connected.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think, how like the physical activity you do and what you eat has 100% direct correlation between all that. And it's all linked with like your mind, like your stomach and your mind are very connected. So if you're eating crap food, you're probably going to be thinking like crap, which is probably going to make you more likely to be, depressed, anxious, not want to do anything. But if you're
Yeah.
eating right, or, it's you're going to be more likely to, feel better. And same with
Yeah.
physical activity, when you probably experience this when you work out, you feel so much better about your day. Even if you go into it not wanting to do it, because there's plenty of days where I don't want to do my workout, but I do it and I get it done and I feel just so much better, and my day goes along so much better
Yeah,
after
you
having
just
done.
feel like automatically you've achieved something for the day. Even if it was a like crap workout, it's just like I got that done. I feel good about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I did a couple reps here. I did, 10, 15 minutes, done. Perfect. That's better than if I did
I
nothing.
think especially, yeah, when you have those bad workouts and you have to really push yourself to get through them, like knowing that you can get through that and you really didn't want to do it, it just sets you up with that mindset that, okay, what else don't I want to do? What else can I feel really good once I finish today? Like
Yeah.
if you
It's
can do
just,
that, you can do anything else.
yeah, exactly. And it all builds up that momentum, from day to day, even in, like we just said, like into like everyday life. Like, okay, I got my workout done. Now I can, maybe do that, idea that I had last night. Maybe I'll actually act on that, talk to these new
Yeah,
people, do new
exactly.
things. It all bleeds into all different
Your
aspects of
life.
your life.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can't take care of yourself, like how is that going to bleed into every other aspect of your life?
Yeah, 100%.
So awesome, Jodie. So it was great talking with you tonight, or today for you. Um, so where can everyone find you social media wise and everything?
So I guess the best place to find me is my website, coachjodie.com, Jodie with an IE, Jodie, because that's got all my other links to Instagram and YouTube
Oh,
and
perfect.
all of that.
Awesome. I'll throw that. If you want to check out Jodie and all her stuff, I'll put a link in the show notes for everyone to follow. Check her out. She has some awesome YouTube and Instagram stuff. I know I watch it. It's all awesome and everything
Thank
like that.
you.
Jodie, it was great talking with you and everything. So hopefully we'll get you
Yeah,
back
happy
on.
birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your day. I'm actually about to probably head to bed soon because I got to wake up early tomorrow, 4 a.m. So to get to work.
Wow.
So
You feel like doing this late.
yeah. Oh, it's not too late here. It's only like 6 p.m. right now. So it's not too late.
Okay, you got to start winding
Yeah.
down.
Just had dinner, doing a podcast. Well, then I'll relax and go to bed. There you go. It's a full
Nice.
day.
Nice. All right. Well, it was
It
nice
was
to
great.
talk to you.
It was great to talk to you as well, Jodie. Have a great day.
You too.